Bloomsburg University. He held a number of positions at the university, including Director of Student Activities and Dean of Student Development. Please welcome Dr. Jack Molka.
Good evening. For those of you who know me, I've been around a long time. Started here as a freshman in 1962. Was involved in athletics, and I've observed athletics over all these years, 56 years in total. Well, I'm a storyteller, so I could go on and tell stories about so many different people in this room. I just want to tell you, I'm proud of each and every one of you, and I love each and every one of you. We're so proud of what you have done for our great university. So, rather than sharing Miller time, I told you I'm old, and the older you get, the wiser you get. I'm going right to Bressi time, because it's getting past my bedtime. Successfully transitioning from a women's basketball coach at Bishop McDevitt High School to a women's basketball coach at Bloomsburg University to a men's basketball coach at Lycoming College, and then, after retiring, returning to the high school where he started his basketball coaching career because he was feeling sorry for the team, which only won 4 games in 2 seasons. Joe Bressi consistently throughout his career averaged winning 20 or more games a season. Or to break it down even more, his teams won 4 out of every 5 games he has ever coached. How amazing is that? I can't begin to tell you, Joe, how delighted and pleased I am that you asked me to introduce you, because when you were hired as BU's head women's basketball coach, I had the privilege of serving as Dean of Student Development and was involved, along with Roger Sanders and Mary Gardner, to select you. And did you ever make our university family proud of your 8 seasons here as the all-time winningest coach in women's basketball history? Your leadership and success resulted not only in local and state recognition, but elevated our women's basketball program to the national spotlight. Just 2 illustrations. First, your 1988-89 regular season of 26 wins and no losses was the first time in history that a D2 women's basketball program had an undefeated regular season since the NCAA began sponsoring and documenting the sport. Your team captured the PSAC Eastern Division title, as it did in 6 out of your 8 seasons, and won the NCAA Eastern Regional Championship. For your outstanding and superb efforts that season, you were selected as Converse's National D2 Coach of the Year. The second illustration occurred 2 years later. Again, with your magic touch, your team had another undefeated 25-0 record, and again winning the PSAC Eastern Division title and moving on to the NCAA D2 tournament. In summary, in 4 out of your 8 seasons here, the Huskies, your Huskies and our Huskies, participated in the national tournament. Such an incredible feat. I'm not as nimble as I used to be. Joe, your overall 1-loss record is simply impressive, as is the number of times you were selected Coach of the Year. as is your induction into 5 other prestigious Halls of Fame, including the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame. I could go on and on about Joe's legendary coaching career with more illustrations and superlatives, and even get into his coaching experiences in wrestling and football at the high school and collegiate levels, as well as his administrative and teaching experiences over his 45-year span in education, but time simply will not permit me to do so. Joe, your success as a coach, teacher, and administrator, coupled with the honors and awards you have received, are well-earned and well-deserved. Growing up in the coal mining community of Colmont, it is obvious to me that you were instilled with a very strong work ethic, with deep family values, and with a passion to succeed in your life's chases and challenges, which I believe is one of your quotes. Please join me, ladies and gentlemen, in honoring and presenting my former colleague and friend, Joe Bressi.
I guess they saved the best for last, but I think everybody's hoping that this is the shortest talk. I want to congratulate the other inductees. It's kind of a really neat thing. Talk about the other Hall of Fames, but this one was very important to me. And I was hoping someday it would come, and it finally did, and I'm really happy to be here. You know, when I look at the 45 years that I had in education, there's a lot of things involved to make all that happen. There's a lot of people that were very helpful, and there's a lot of luck involved. And I'm going to just put these cards down. But, you know, I'm not going to talk about the numbers or all those championships and stuff. They were all pretty sweet. But it's the journey to get to where I got to and how I got to this point. And, you know, when I graduated from East Stroudsburg, and I was on a football team for 3 years, all I ever wanted to do was coach football. I don't think I played 3 plays in 3 years. But I just wanted to be on the team, and I wanted to coach. And, you know, you talk about turning a different corner or meeting the right person. I was out with my student teacher supervisor, and he introduced me to a coach over at Marian Catholic that asked me to be an assistant coach there. And back in 1972, there weren't a lot of teaching jobs available. It was tough coming out of college, but I took the job at Marian Catholic to be one year later to be the head football coach there at 25 years old. And really realized real fast I was in over my head. But I took the job, and, you know, I think we won 6 games in 2 years. But I realized that I wasn't ready for that at 25 years old. So I had taken a job through my roommate from college that introduced me to another coach down in the York area, and I took the Central York job as an assistant football coach. And 2 weeks after I was there, they asked me if I would be the assistant wrestling coach, and I said, nah, I don't want to be the assistant wrestling. I know a little bit about wrestling, but about a week later, they offered me the head job, and I took it. And again, coaching is coaching. I guess it doesn't matter what it is, but I mean, I surround myself with good assistants, and we had a 12-1 record my last year there. But you know what? At the age of 29, I was really looking to get out of coaching, get out of teaching. I wanted to get into the administration, and I also then at that time met this principal at McDevitt High School who really wanted me to take in a football job there, but I said, I'm really done. I would like to be an administrator. I want to just not teach anymore, and he offered me the job. And you know, it was kind of neat because I was just at a right age where I just wanted to do other things and not coach anymore. 2 days before basketball season starts, the head girls coach and the assistant coach resigned. And he comes down my office and he says, well, you were a head wrestling, you're a head track, head football. Why don't you take this job? I said, I'm going to give you 2 reasons why I won't take this job. One, I don't think I can coach girls. And number 2, I don't know anything about basketball. So the next day he came down to the office, he wasn't asking. He told me I was going to be the head girls coach for 1 year here, and I mean, how can I turn it down? He's given me a great position. So I took it. 19 wins later, now the program was not very good. I mean, it wasn't. They never won any championships or anything. We're 19-0. And then the next thing you know, we're 22-2, and we won a district championship, and we went to the Eastern Finals. And I'm saying, wow, I really like this. This is good. We played a game at the Hershey Arena in front of 8,000 people, and I'm saying, wow. 10 years later, again, with a real good bunch of kids and a lot of hard work, we had 10 great years, 8 championships. But you know what? I was really getting tired of it. I was getting tired. I just didn't want to coach anymore. So I'm running basketball camp that one summer, and I'm up there, and all of a sudden, I get a call from a girl by the name of Pam Bressi, distant cousin, asked if she can come and work at my camp. Sure. She came down. We were at Gettysburg at the time. We were out jogging, and she said to me, she said, you know, our head coach has resigned. Why don't you apply for the job? I said, Pam, nobody goes from high school to Division II basketball, especially in the PSAC. I mean, that's good basketball. Well, just give it an application. No, I'm doing it. So all week she kept bugging me, and I finally applied. And you know, it's kind of funny because I had some ties in the area, and I thought it'd be really neat, but I knew what I was up against. This just wasn't going to be happening. And you know, I remember when I applied, and I had called back to Mrs. Gardner, and I told her that we were leaving for vacation if they were doing any interview, and she said, oh yeah, we'll interview you when you come back from vacation. I said, good luck getting that job, you know. But she did interview me, and I came up, and the first thing she said to me when we were sitting in her office was, do you know you're applying for the head women's basketball job, not the head girls basketball job? And I looked on my letter of application, and that's what I had on there, girls basketball. And again, that was a quick lesson from Mary. But anyway, I went through the interview process, and you know, the thing was very simple, and I felt pretty good after the interview. I do talk well. I do. That's what I do best. That's why I was a good recruiter. But anyway, I said to my wife, I said, man, I really feel good about this job. She said, oh yeah, good. And, you know, so then about a week later, Roger Sanders calls me and he says, we're going to offer you the job. And I was so excited. Oh my God, I can't believe it. I couldn't wait till Carol come home, and I told her, I said, look, I got this job. She said, I ain't going to Bloomsburg. and she wasn't kidding. She was serious. And I said, what do you mean you're not going to Bloomsburg? We've been talking about this for weeks. I'm not going to Bloomsburg. So she said, you can go. And I did. I ended up living with a guy by the name of Jim Hollister for a year. And it was okay, but you know, she wasn't going to leave her job and move our 2 little kids for a whim. You know, what happens if you go there and I mean, she had a good job at Blue Cross, so I said, I'm taking it. So a year later, 20 wins later, and you know, I remember the first weekend I was there, we had a tournament down in West Virginia, and we were playing a team by the name of Central Ohio, who was in the top 10, and we lost by 1 point, and it was a tough loss. And then the next night we won, and then we came home, and that Monday, I remember Dr. Mocha came to the field house to see me, and he says, well, you took care of business. You got the winning out of the way, and you got the losing out of the way. And I don't know if you remember what I said to him. I said, you can't go undefeated when you have a loss, Doc. But, you know, at that time, we got it rolling. And I looked, before we even got it going, I looked at the roster. It was August. I didn't bring any recruits in. And I'm looking at the roster. And I'm looking at this, and I'm seeing Sue Coker, 5'8". Can you be my center? I remember her from Cedar Cliff, coached against her. Gritty, tough, great softball player. She said, she'll do it now, and we're going to get this going. And then I looked a little further, and I said, where's my point guard? And there's Carla Shearer, All-American field hockey player. I said, if you're going to run the team for me, she will. And I looked at that, and then there was one other name on there that was a pretty good name. Her name was Teresa Lorenzi, and she's still our all-time leading scorer here. But it was funny because she only averaged about 10 points a game, and I coached against her in Eastern State Finals, and she was a great player. But she was on her way to St. Bonaventure's. She was going to transfer, and I said, I better put the stop to this. I got to have some scorers on this team. So I talked to her and her parents, and I talked her into staying, and that year she ended up leading the nation in scoring, 26 points a game, and we were on our way. I mean, we were on our way. And you know, Bloomsburg's a great selling point, beautiful campus, a lot of things, but they don't have anything to sell in basketball at that time. So we had to really try to get some things going, and 20 wins does that for you. All of a sudden, here comes Becky Pika, here comes Michelle Simons, and you know, Kareem Balka and Barb Hall, and I mean, we're on our way. We had players now. That changed everything. And if anybody tells you that you could win without good players, you're sadly mistaken. Because you've got to have players to win. But you know what? I've seen a lot of coaches have good players and still not win. But if you have good players, you have a chance to win. And two of my favorite players are here today, Michelle Simons and Kareem Balka. Stand up for 1 second, girls, please. I would take these two girls, Sue Coker and Megan, and we'd win the Pennsylvania Conference this year. That's how good these two girls were. And you know what? I really was very fortunate. And I talk about people that have changed my life, or turning a different corner. And I'm going to finish up with one more quick story. You talk about turning a different corner. When I was at McDevitt, I didn't get paid hardly anything. So I had 2 part-time jobs. I was working in a bank and I was tending bar at a Legion. And one day I'm in there working lunch, and I very seldom ever worked lunch. And this young lady comes in, and somebody introduces me to her. She was there doing a banquet for her brother's baseball team. And 40 years later, that's my wife, Carol. You talk about turning a different corner. There it is. If I turn a different corner, maybe there's no Pam Bressi. Maybe there's no... Different things happen. But again, it's been a great run for me. I really enjoyed every minute of it. Bloomsburg is so close to my heart because it's where I really got going. And again, there were a lot of people that helped me to do that. And I want to just recognize a couple other people that are here with me. My son Mike and my daughter Nikki. Nikki's daughter Kaylee and her boyfriend. Kaylee's a sophomore at Penn State. A couple other people, Dr. Mocha and his wife, Kathy, that have been close to me for years and years. Mike and Wendy, who have been to all of our games over the years, all of them, right up to the very last games. My brother Ray and his wife Teresa, and my nephew and his wife and Pat, and then my brother-in-law Harry and his girl Patty. Did I miss anybody? My three youngest grandchildren are not here. They're 2, 4, and 6. They are a handful. A little girl and 2 boys. I swear that little girl will play here someday. She is going to be that good. She is so tough. But anyway, it's been a great run. I appreciate the committee and just giving me this chance to be here. I saw Joe here, who used to help a lot with the different athletes and getting them back on the field. Again, it's been good. I coached with Brian for a year with Don Danny Hale's staff. And you know what? Bloomsburg's been a great place for me. And again, I thank everybody. Thank you.